So your video is up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, good. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
We all shut up and start staring.
It's that time.
It is that time.
That's your cue.
That's your
I
cue.
know it.
Do
It's
not
9
dis-
o'clock.
do not misbehave.
No, that's right.
That's hard.
Mute your phones.
All right, whenever you're ready. Got the sound too?
Yep.
All righty. Good morning. I'm Kevin Day, Chair of the Custer County Board of Commissioners. And today is Wednesday, August 31st, 2022. And I will call to order this meeting of the Custer County Board of Commissioners. And if you do have cell phones, please silence them at this time. And Braden, would you be willing to lead us in the pledge?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Not bad for a man.
Okay, Kelly, can we get a roll call?
Commissioner Day,
Present.
Commissioner Kanda,
Here.
Commissioner Flower,
Present.
Attorney Clint Smith,
Present.
and Clerk to the Board Kelly Camper.
And we'll start audience introductions. And if we could start right here with you, Kathy.
Kathy Garcia, the Regional Director for Congresswoman Lauren Bullard.
I'm Renee Martinez, Regional Director for Senator Michael Benton.
Okay. Kayla.
Gaila Day Wentworth.
Braden Wilson, Director of Finance and HR.
And we have Jennifer with us today as well.
Yep, Jennifer Green. Your admin.
Okay. And if anyone goes to speak later in the meeting, if you could identify yourself, so for the record, that would be great. Amendments to the agenda, gentlemen.
I don't have any.
I have one. I would like to add transfer of funds to the agenda following the two resolutions that we have on the agenda.
Didn't get on.
Yeah, it did not get on, so
That was my fault.
You say you'd like to add, is that a motion?
I would move that we add transfer of funds to the agenda following the resolutions 21 and 22.
Gotta do something once we resolve it. I'll second
Okay, any discussion on that? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
All
it. Aye.
Aye.
Now that I mention it, or that you asked about that. I sent you a proposed copy of the bylaws for Custer County Recycles Board. Could do it during commissioner items, or we could add it to the agenda. It might be better to add it to the agenda, actually. So with that, I would move that we add adopting the Custer County Recycles Board bylaws.
Second.
And we just finished those yesterday, so I meant to send them to you last night and I forgot. So that, my apologies.
Okay,
But you do have them this morning, and I think Clint got a copy, correct?
I haven't looked yet, but
okay, would you
Did you
like,
get my
I sent
email?
it to
Yeah,
them.
okay,
Did you send me a
so we can add, would you like to
I
add
will
that to the
make
end of the agenda?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Those, any discussion on that?
Is there a hurry for it, Tom? Just out of.
Yeah, they're trying to get up and running. They're meeting tomorrow. Assuming these bylaws get adopted, then they want to officially elect their officers and move on.
So
Nothing in there real sacred. We can go through them kind of rapidly.
Clint, you can look at them before then, can't you?
I don't see him here yet.
Only 65 pages. So.
I'll make
What am
sure.
I gonna do, Miss
You
Bird?
can do your speed reading before then.
I don't see him
I
yet.
will
Speak now,
double-
forever
I will
hold your
send it to you again.
Any other discussion on
Did
that?
you send them to all of us?
Yes, sir.
You did?
I will.
I sent them to you this morning.
Oh, there it is. I see them.
8:46,
8:46, Clint.
I didn't send them to.
Didn't send them to
because he
Clint
had
though.
already-
No wonder.
Yesterday.
I see now.
Clint got his copy yesterday. You two did not.
I see.
But I'm gonna make sure to send it to all of you.
Any other discussion? All right, those in favor of adding consideration of adopting the recycling
Board
board
bylaws.
bylaws signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Again, they're the bylaws just for the board, not for the Custer County Recycle Organization particularly.
Okay. We have no minutes to approve. Commissioner items. Bar.
Thank you. Before we go, well, I can't change my agenda because it's in PDF, so I was gonna add the stuff that you just added.
I put a paper copy next to you.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Since our last county commissioner meeting, on the 17th, I attended the Silver Cliff Planning Commission meeting at the Silver Cliff Town Hall. Steve Laswell was presenting for information on affordable housing, attainable housing, giving a report on the tour that they took of Fading West, which is a component house manufacturing plant in Buena Vista. Had some discussion about what we could do on our county-owned lots for attainable housing. It looks like the town of Silver Cliff will go along with some multifamily, most likely duplex or two-story units, not apartments, most likely, and then also single-family residential units. So we've got 19 lots, 12 of those are contiguous, so they're thinking about putting two-story units on the 12 lots, probably 9 of them. And then single family on the other 9 that are not contiguous. So it's all still in the works. But we kind of really needed to get the blessing of the town of Silver Cliff. And one of the big questions that Steve had was about density. And so they researched that and found out the density is from 20 to 30 people per acre. And I said, well, is 20 a minimum and is 30 a maximum? And how did that number get established? And I got the proverbial answer. That's just the way it's always been. But we wouldn't exceed 30 per acre anyway. So we were pleased to hear that. And then, as all of us did, as commissioners, attended the CCI Mountain District meeting in Florence, where we bumped into these 2 lovely ladies. That was nice. You were there? No. You were there, Renee. Yeah, I got thinking that. No, I don't think Kathy was there.
wasn't there.
She wasn't gonna call you out either.
Yeah.
Kathy, you're a ghost. Walker.
Cat and women prepared lunch for us, so that was nice. It was good to see some of those ladies. And then on the 22nd, I attended the CSU. I was on the search committee for a new extension director, and we conducted interviews in the morning, and then the community public was invited in the afternoon to come in and meet those candidates as well. So I would expect a decision from CSU in the next couple of weeks. And then we had a special board meeting also on the 22nd that afternoon at 4 o'clock. On the 24th, we had a meeting in here with some members of the Attainable Housing Board to discuss the whole town of Silver Cliff meeting and where we're going to go, how they're trying to move forward with that. And then also on the 24th, I attended the tabletop exercise at Emergency Management Office sponsored over at Lang Hall. That was very good. Adrian called and asked if he could invite Jennifer down as a PIO. And so I talked with Jennifer about that. She attended that also. I think it was well worthwhile for her and myself. So that exercise was a mock shooting in a church here in town, and the agencies that would typically be responsible for that. Most of them were there, some were not. I was disappointed the school was not there. Most likely that would be a location that a lot of people would end up going to. So I encouraged Adrian to try to encourage the school to be at those deals. So as well as the CES meetings. But good exercise, pretty well attended. The director of the clinic's husband prepared a lunch, so that was nice, and finished up around 1 o'clock, I think, something like that. Then also attended an anti-stigma campaign as part of the opioid region that we're in on the 24th that afternoon as well. We broke that whole effort into 3 sections. I'm going to struggle to remember them all because I've only been now involved with the anti-stigma campaign. There's 2 other initiatives moving forward. We've been allocated the dollars for 2022. And so we've been meeting in committees to decide how we're going to best spend those monies. So that's an ongoing thing. Patrick Fiore is pretty involved in that. Stacy Schock dropped off of that committee because tomorrow or today is her last day.
I thought it was the 15th.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was
is it the
thinking
15th?
September
Okay,
also, yeah.
Maybe she was going off today. And so I talked to them about replacing her with her replacement, Alyssa in Human Services Office. So I think she's going to serve on that. And then the 25th, we had a Custer County Recycles Board meeting here in the Commissioner room. I met with them to start. I keep saying we. I'm not on the board, obviously, but they met. I also attended that meeting, and then they met again yesterday to finalize the revisions of the bylaws, and so I met with them to do that. And then, of course, last night I attended the broadband meeting up in West Cliff Town Hall. Mayor Winkie asked some great questions, one of which, what is the plan to get broadband to the county in this whole initiative? And there really isn't one. The 2 towns, West Cliff and Silver Cliff, are first up to bat on that. And I believe eventually the county will be in the queue to get some broadband out of this deal. But right now it's all about the towns of Silver Cliff and West Cliff. I was glad to hear, I asked the CEO of Hilltop Broadband and Mark Carmel, where we stood with them financially. We contributed, as did the town of Silver Cliff and West Cliff initially, to get this project started, and asked if we needed to budget some more money to continue that. And I was very surprised at the answer I got.
No.
No, we do not. I was more surprised at the reason why we do not. And that was because the Hilltop Broadband has hired Mark Carmel to carry this project forward, and they are paying him. We're done. We don't need to pay them anymore. He encouraged us to consider at budget time earmarking some dollars moving forward for next year if we have to not pony up, but in good faith to the grant writers, be willing to offer up some more dollars. The other thing I thought was interesting, Commissioner Canada can certainly weigh in on this, was about the whole matching situation. Originally, the match for that first round of grant money was $6 million. They've changed the grant process a little bit, and Hilltop Broadband is covering the match of about what, 4 million, wasn't it? Reduced down to about 4.
Yeah. But they're good for 6 million.
Yeah, he said, we're in for 6 million. We've got the financing. So that was encouraging, and they believe that they need to deal with the two towns first and then the county secondly. And Eric, their CEO, was very upfront about it. He said, it's a business decision. We believe we can get our money back out of dealing with two towns, and we're not as confident about rural Custer County, mostly just for the numbers.
That's why I wanted to go with the grants for the county.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah, the grants, he said, would shore up the lack of revenue or expense to put in the infrastructure for broadband in the county. So we'll see. I don't know. I believe Silver Cliff and West Cliff's going to get some serious forward movement here in the next year. And that's what I've been up to. I'll let it go at that for my report. Thank you.
Commissioner Canada.
Yeah, a couple things that we had the Air Fest, as you know, and because of that, we delayed the fog seal treatment on the runway because it would have closed the runway down because of the air show. But it went on Monday. It started, and we have the fog seal on the runway now, and the new paint on it will be completed this afternoon. So it looks like a brand new airport out there. The second phase is the crack seal, and they're getting bids on it already. We haven't gotten them back yet. And let's see what else can I say about that.
May I, Commissioner Canada, on the Airfest thing, I just want to compliment the airport board and their folks out there. My gosh, I was absolutely floored when I showed up and saw the number of cars parked all over that complex. I mean, they were down that road and around, and they estimated what, 800 people, I think. And I think probably got almost everybody served breakfast.
They did. The line was out there. I was going to mention that it occurred on a day they predicted 70% rain. And, pilots would get cautious about that because they got to get home.
Right.
And it turned out the longer the day went on, the better it got. But they had a lot of airplanes, and they had many, many people, and a lot of people from the rural West Cliff. A lot of people came. And it truly was the biggest one yet to date.
Absolutely.
A lot of good things happening out there, a lot of people volunteering, and a lot of people volunteering not only their labor, but money too. So it's been very good for us from an airport point of view. We tried to get a congressional spending, what would you call it? The CES. And we did that through Hickenlooper's group, and we got as far as the committee in Congress, and it got overlooked there. But that was for the rest of the airport apron rebuild and a new Jet A fuel tank, which we need. So we're going to still working hard on that. So keep the grants open, keep them coming. We'll keep trying. And then like I said, the surface treatment is completed. The painting is being done today. On another item, the skid steer that we went up and we bid on the airport auction. They have it every year at DIA, and they bring in equipment from all the airports in the state. And we successfully sent up a couple guys to take a look at them, and we were able to win our choice. And so we got a new skid steer for the airport runway, our airport board, and they are using that for plowing snow in the wintertime and other work around there. So it was really a great deal. So I got to get with Braden after we're done here. There's a special process we've got to go through, Braden, to get it the check mailed at the right time. We can't do anything until it gets in the hands of the person up in Denver. And they just approved it yesterday. And so now's the time we can write the check. But we have to do that within a certain time. So I'll get with you after the meeting.
How much was that?
The total was 16,000, 22,000.
But we didn't pay 22.
No, we paid 1,200 something.
What a
Let
deal.
me look. Yeah, it was a great deal. Let me look and see, Kelly, don't, I'll get you the actual number. Yeah, it was an excellent deal. So, all right, that's all I got for now.
All right. You guys covered a lot of the things that, of course, we all three attended. The Airfest, our CCI meeting in Fremont County. I also came and sat in on the public portion of that extension interview. Impressed with how that went. My apologies for not being there last night. I guess I could throw that out there, but we were up in Colorado Springs with Gayla at a doctor's appointment. She's now scheduled for a bone marrow biopsy to see if we're done with treatments or not. So that was very good news.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to hit her with this one. Today is her birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
To you.
Happy birthday to
So-
you.
Couldn't get them all going, I guess.
So she chose to spend her birthday here with us. So,
Yes.
and then I also went to Leadville, went with Buck from Silver Cliff. We went up to Leadville for the UACOG meeting up there. And took care of that. I think most of the rest of those now will be in Fremont County or possibly in Salida, so that the travel won't be quite as bad for those meetings. So
I need seconds just real quick.
go ahead.
Jennifer,
Yes.
I need you to get a hold of Kathy Rice and send her your info. She's the town clerk, so it's townclerk@townofwestcliff.com. And she was going to send you the minutes to the meeting and other things from last night, but didn't know how to get you. So
Great.
if you would get a hold of her and pass it along, I'd appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Thanks.
Okay, I will cut it short there as well. So Attorney Smith.
I've been working with Dorothy now and then on various matters. In fact, I'll be meeting with her after today's meeting to discuss some other things that have come up. Got one case that's we've talked about before, but the people have hired an attorney from Pueblo. I've known him we both came to Pueblo at the same time back in 1973. So I guess I've known him for nearly 50 years now. But he's going to be representing these folks, and we talked, and he's going to get back to me with some more information. I'll talk to Dorothy about it. I appreciate Braden's job being the liaison with CTSI on this lawsuit and getting everything
lined up, and I've been in communication with the attorney whose office has been retained by CTSI to represent Custer County in the lawsuit. And I actually had a telephone communication with him this morning at 8:30 before he came in. It was set up so we could talk a little bit, and our executive session for this afternoon will be for legal advice, so that'll be obviously closed and not recorded. And I guess that's pretty much what I've been doing since the last time around.
Thank you, sir. You had a question?
No.
Oh, okay. Jennifer.
Okay, I put in your packet the 2022 Secure Rural School Payment. It is a form I need to fill out, and I just need to know how you want me to respond. So it is Pelt money. 80 to 85% of it can go to schools and roads. 15 to 20%, the remainder, can go between Title II and Title III. One is special projects in federal land, and then Title III is county projects. Just need to know what I need to put on the form to get it back. It's just letting them know how we choose to delegate that, and then, or if we want to return it to the Treasury. If I don't respond, it just returns to the Treasury.
Which treasury?
Don't know. They didn't tell me on that.
We don't
So,
want to lose that.
yeah. So do we want 80 to 85% for schools and roads?
That's already a set thing, isn't it?
It was 85 last
We've
year.
historically done the 85.
Yeah.
And so I think that is probably,
And then special projects on federal land or county projects, do you want to split the remaining 15% between the two? Do you want it to just go to county
I think
projects?
just county. I don't think we've ever done any federal project.
it generally, I believe, from
was-
my conversation with Virginia a while ago, it goes to the county projects.
Right.
That's how we fund our fire mitigation.
That's what I thought, but just since it's the first time filling the form out, wanted to ask. And then one is we did get our final payment submitted for the recycling center, and wanted to toot the horn of the recycling group because, and Dorothy, they only had $60 left. And that was not able to be spent, because anyway, so good job with that. We got that. We should be having that final payment in next month. And then PIO, just so you know, I did go over, like you said, the tabletop, and I've talked to Adrian and some other people that are PIOs, and there's a group that I can join as PIO to get me some training, so that I can better represent the county.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you. Public comment. Don't see anybody here. And I'm not seeing any hands raised on mine either. Any unfinished business, gentlemen?
I do not.
None.
Okay. Moving on to new business, our first item up would be the consideration of AP and out of cycle checks.
Good morning.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you all doing?
Good.
Good
You see,
Good to be on. Good to see you all. Alrighty. So, record this month of getting it out 6 days ahead. So we're continuing to find some efficiencies in getting our reporting process and getting invoices in. So you received the out of cycle
report, AP report for August,
Mm,
and the payroll report, which is just informational. So I might suggest that we start with the out of cycle report.
Yep, go ahead.
I don't think there's anything too out of the ordinary there. Any questions I might be able to answer?
I didn't have any. I'm good.
Thank you.
Committee on there.
No, I think we're good there.
Alrighty.
We need to approve that.
Yep.
Can't remember. I move, go ahead.
I move we accept the out of cycle reports.
Second.
Yeah, a motion on the floor to accept the out of cycle report. Any further discussion on that, gentlemen?
Just one, the ARPA grant to the dive team was at 100% funded to them. They requested all those funds.
It should have been, yeah.
I would assume when we cut a check to those ARPA recipients, it'll be for the entire amount.
Right. Yeah, I've not been made aware of any sort of installment plan for any of those kind of things.
Okay, anything else? Those in favor then of accepting the out of cycle report, please signify by saying aye.
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 You need a dollar amount, Kelly?
No, I've got it.
Okay.
All right, next would be the AP report then.
Anyone see anything on there they would like to speak to?
No, I was able to get through that, finished up this morning, so didn't see anything.
That might be the record
I
too.
know, I
Yeah.
know. Believe me.
I didn't see any new pickups for your office or anything
Oh,
like
sure.
that in there. So I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the accounts payable for August 2022
I'll second that.
in the amount of $564,900. No, yeah, that's right. 564,988 and 68 cents.
Yeah, I have a motion on the floor to accept the AP report in the sum of $564,988.68. Any further discussion on that? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate getting that early, even though I wasn't able to take advantage of it. Gosh darn it.
I didn't.
I did.
Look at, good.
That was very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, my hope is that that should become the regular. And so then if there do happen to be questions, maybe we can address them before the meeting and come with any information that if I needed to change something midstream or something like that, we can be ready for the end of the month meeting.
Okay.
It just confused me that you sent it early.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it. and
Well, I could go
thought,
back
"Do
to
we have a
sending it,
meeting?
yeah.
Do we have a meeting today?"
Yeah, exactly.
We had a new bookkeeping system put in. And we cut over to it. It's been a long process.
Yeah,
And it's a learning process.
that's
right
16 months later. We're getting it figured out.
We're thinking of getting a new system now.
Yeah, exactly.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
I may, and it might be a partial question, attorney, finance department. I'm of the opinion that we probably need to give serious consideration to finding a vehicle for a veteran service office. Can the county buy a vehicle from a private individual without going through a whole bid letting? process. And here's why I ask. I have a suspicion that if and when, when we get serious about finding a vehicle for that department, it would not surprise me for somebody to contact Jared or us and say, hey, you know what? I got a heart for Veterans Service Office. I've got a vehicle I'm willing to sell the county. Could we just buy it?
I think under the purchasing policy, we probably need to solicit bids. Chances I might find somebody who just volunteered to give one. I think they're.
We can take it for free.
So I think we should put it out for a bid, but I think it would be advantageous to do so, because I think you'd be surprised what you're gonna get.
And to that end, if we did put out a request for a purchase and nobody responded, then are we free to move forward and do
I
whatever?
think so. If the purchasing policy doesn't work in that situation, then I don't see why you can't go ahead and acquire one by other means.
Okay. I did reach out to Linda Chevrolet and asked them if they could be on the lookout for a vehicle, and they said they would. I haven't heard anything back. That surprised me. It probably scares his hen's teeth, but we need to find a 3/4 ton 4-wheel drive, preferably long bed, because he hauled a lot of water and firewood and
They are scarce.
other stuff. So, well, I might work with Jared and try to come up with I don't even know what to call it, a request to purchase or something, but they would get that in the paper but we don't want to do that until we formally agree that we're moving forward and we have the money to pay for it. So that was the finance part of the question is, it would be an unbudgeted item if we do it before the end of the year, but we may have to wait and look at it, budget hearings and.
To see how we're stacking up for the end of the year.
I think that, I mean, my suggestion would probably be to give it a couple months and check in with like the American Legion or some other organizations to see if they can scrounge up somebody that would just donate a vehicle outright, because I see that as a high likelihood. And then if we don't, going ahead and budgeting for it for next year.
Yeah, you think we could just put a request or a notice in the paper that the issue is with the whole donation thing, if it's not the right vehicle, we don't need to saddle that department. We got to get rid of those other 2 vehicles that he's got now. All they're doing is providing enough shade for the weeds to grow around them. So I talked to Mike Halpin about that yesterday, and there are probably 6 or 8 vehicles that we need to unload. Whether we want to do that through the sealed bid process or public auction, hire an auction company to come do it or whatever, I don't know. But I'd sure like to move that process forward. But my concern is that if we accept a donation, it really, for what he's doing, I think it would need to be a 2015 or newer vehicle, and I'd be surprised if somebody's going to do that. They might, but we can't just keep expecting him to use his own vehicle to do the kind of stuff he's doing. It's not right. So.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I visited with him some about that as well.
Yeah, I just think we need to do something. So, and to that end, on the whole budget thing, which I think at some point we need to have a conversation about that, what that process is going to look like this year. They can access the budget forms through CIC.
Through ClearGov, the new platform that we've got for that.
Okay. And so then you should be getting those back all in a consistent format. And then are you going to work with the department heads prior to budget hearings?
I haven't worked out all the specifics yet, but plan to have a report next week.
Okay.
To let you know what that
Overall, I'm just
process
thinking,
is.
do we need to block out 4 days for budget hearings? Are you thinking of trying to streamline that a little? Or what?
We should be able to streamline that. I would be going going against what I'd originally said if we did end up doing that. So my goal is still for us to have a much more brief meeting, or for maybe there to be some sort of, I guess, homework for each of you to look at, and then us come together and have a quick question and answer and kind of knock it out, something like that. So, but I will have that process outlined, and we can discuss any intricacies of that next week, hopefully.
Yeah, I think I'm of the opinion that that process could and should be streamlined. I mean, that's why we have a finance director to deal with that, bring us a budget. That's my thought. I don't know about you two gentlemen, but I mean, we've in the past, we've dissected that budget to the last 25 cents, and I'm not sure that's the most efficient way to do that.
Yeah, it's a new process. So we'll
Yeah.
see how he stacks it up for us.
I think we do have 4 days blocked out currently, right? The 11th
Yeah.
through the 15th.
The 15th is a Friday, so we have 3 days. And then the Monday before is Columbus Day.
Yeah,
And then
so
the courthouse is scheduled to be closed.
I would guess 3 days sounds like will be enough.
Yeah, more than enough.
I think we could probably leave it scheduled for that, and then it's easier to take days away than it is to add days.
11 through the 14th.
And you were betting on 2.
2 days. I was hoping for or one, maybe a half a day, but
We don't have to take 4.
We'll
Yeah,
shoot for
exactly.
that.
Yeah, I would, do you see department heads having an opportunity to come meet still, or would that all have been done prior to?
I will hope that it's prior to, and then if there's things that are between me and the department head that we can't work out, then that would be something that we'll bring here.
I think that's a good plan.
Be interested to see that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, we have a couple of resolutions.
Right. Hopefully run through this pretty quick. This resolution number 22-21 is $20,000 from the MPG grant reimbursements for an emergency support expense line item. This was overlooked by me. Kelly reminded me, thank you, that on May 19th,
22, 21.
at the May 19th meeting, it was voted that happened. So this is just finalizing that and getting it on the books.
Okay, I move that we adopt resolution number 2221 for resolutions for supplemental budget and appropriation. Amount of 20,000.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to adopt resolution number 22-21. Further discussion on that.
Yes, if I may, sir.
Go ahead.
So you created these 2 accounts. Emergency support on the expense side, correct?
Correct, and that's the only account that's been created.
Oh, that number covers the appropriations for that.
Right.
Okay. So if I'm about to delve off into this deal and show my ignorance. I thought EMPG grant is through the Office of Emergency Management.
Mhm.
And so this 20,000, as I remember our discussion, was to allow him funds to match grants with. No,
The
what was
way it
this 20
was,
grand for?
This was, remember he wanted to create an emergency
Cover
fund
expenses.
during, yes.
That's right.
You're
yes.
right. Yeah, like we got into with the food thing
Yes.
on
So he's talking about buying water and food for emergency
Yeah.
support volunteers during an emergency.
porta toilets.
and I did add that I took some liberty with the name there because it was originally emergency fund for emergency management, which I felt was a little ambiguous given the department. And so emergency support, and then having that example of, because that's the way it was portrayed to me, as it was when we did have that brush fire, that it was to buy water and food or reimburse people.
I remember now. Thank you. Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, so then he's gonna have this 20 grand at his disposal. And how does he access that? How's he gonna go buy water with that?
It would,
In reality?
yeah.
Yeah, but
Well, right now, yes, I believe he has a credit card. And so it should be able to be bought with the credit card and then expended out of this account. And then it should, and even if it was somebody that went and bought sandwiches, reimbursing that person would be out of this account.
Yeah, it'd be easy.
And it would be my expectation that this is not $20,000 to be spent if it is not used in other ways. This is truly one of those funds that we probably overload just in case something happens, and then we hope that there's zero spent at the end of the year, because that means we didn't have any emergencies.
Right.
So
And he is aware of and okay with us taking this $20,000 out of that EMPG grant, correct? He knows he's gonna have a deficit in that grant then.
I only wrote this based on the actions that came from the May
Okay,
19th
all right.
meeting.
You haven't had a discussion.
I think he suggested that.
He was
that
here.
That's where that came
So,
from.
yeah.
Any other discussion here?
Did you get a motion for approval
Yes.
or adoption? Sorry.
Yes,
I
we
was
did.
trying to figure out which one we were at, so.
Any other discussion?
You have hard copies?
I do. I'm not seeing any hands on mine. Those in favor then of adopting resolution number 22-21, creating the emergency support fund in the amount of $20,000, signify by saying aye.
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 So then that brings us to resolution 22-22. This was as a result of the discussion had about the fog seal and that Colorado Department of Transportation matching grant that we're eligible for. And so this is kind of a bear of a resolution, but in order to do what we needed to do, needed to say all these things. So I'll just kind of run through the high points here. We were eligible for the matching grant. In the grant, the way I understood it is that it will pay 92.5% of the costs, while we'll pay 7.5% of those costs. It was expected that the fog seal for resurfacing would be $224,785.43. And Custer County Public Health was at 27% of their budgeted expenses in the salary account. So based on that information, we made the decision to move to increase the capital improvements other grant revenue to include that 92.5% that's coming in from the state. That would be coming in from the state. We would increase the expenditure side of capital improvements for the airport by that entire amount, so 100% of the cost. And then we would decrease public health's by the 7.5%, which comes out to $16,858.91. We then have a transfer out from general fund for that amount and a transfer into capital improvement for that amount. So that's how finances work, folks. And that's what we're doing to spend that $17,000, almost $17,000 to get our 224,000.
400,000 in the end.
Okay. And that, which will be next year, right? Okay.
There's one number on here that I'm not clear on. That's in
Okay.
section 4.
Okay.
The general fund transfer out expense. We're increasing it by roughly 17,000
Yes.
from 36,000. What is that dollar?
The 36 was the budgeted transfer to the airport fund that we did. We have done already. Yep. So that's where that 36 comes from.
52,858.
Yeah,
Total in the whole fund.
correct.
Good.
So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, Mr. Chairman. Have you had a conversation with public health?
I have spoken with Rhonda about this, and she thought that was great.
I also talked to the good doctor. Speed on that. Thanks.
Good question.
We're gonna dip into somebody's deal. We probably ought to have a
Take care
discussion
of
with
those.
them. Yeah.
Take care
That's
of
why I
those.
did it.
Any other discussion? Okay. I would entertain a motion. Or I guess I will move. How's that? I
Why
will
not?
move that we adopt resolution number 22-22 as presented by
Second.
HR Finance.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor to adopt resolution number 22-22 as presented.
In its most simplest form.
Sure. Yes. Any other discussion on that?
This will take care of all the matching requirements, correct, for the grant for the airport.
For this year. For this year.
Yeah, we have to revisit it again for that budget.
During our budget, we gotta make it right for the rest of the 400,000.
And will that still be at 7.5%?
Yes.
Okay, any other discussion here in the room? Mr. Gilbert,
Yeah, I'm a little unaware of what's exactly going on. What I don't understand is the shortfall in the expenditures in the public health. My understanding is that a significant portion of the salary of the public health director is paid by a grant rather than the county. And he's a county employee, so that's weird. What is the grant that pays him?
go ahead, sir.
So I'll speak to that. This is Braden. So the public health has many grants, of which they're leveraging as much as possible any sort of salary expenses that do come in. So yes, he is a county employee, but the department is also leveraging the grant monies that are coming in order to pay for that salary. So that way we're not paying as much directly from the general fund to pay for those salaries.
And most of that was COVID related.
Yes, I would say the majority of that would be COVID related, but it is broken out every month based on where they spend their time. And so there is a certain, based on the hours spent on COVID or on something that would be eligible for a nursing grant or opioid, there's a lot of different areas that they can spend their time that is charged back towards that grant. And so we have some salary savings there.
Okay, so if most of it's coming out of COVID grants, the amount of time spent on COVID has dropped significantly, I'm sure. So I don't really, this sounds like it's a not certain source of funds for salaries, because it should vary given the amount of time spent on COVID, which I'm sure has dropped a lot.
Right. So, Mr. Gilbert, Tom Flower, we had this discussion and conversation with Dr. Brown at budget hearing, and made it very clear that if he chose to go this route to supplement his salary expenses through his grants, which certainly is acceptable, it's part of the grant process, that when those grants go away, so do those positions and their funding. He has brought people on, I don't want to say part-time, but he brought people on to assist in the whole COVID thing, and has been paying those through those different and various grants. But the commissioners made sure he understood that we're not going to continue to fund those positions if his grant sources dry up. I don't know what percent of his person or his salary as public health director is paid through the grant, but I'm not sure it'd be fair to say the lion's share of that has been paid through grants. I don't know that. I'm just guessing. Maybe it has. If they've only expended 27% of their salary line, then maybe the majority of that has been covered by a grant. But he felt like he would help out the entire general fund budget if he could pay for some of those salaries out of his grants.
And he's gotten approval at the state level to do exactly.
Yeah, they're legit.
It is all
Yeah.
legitimate costs.
That answer your question, sir?
Okay, given what you just said, then does that mean that his position is subject to elimination should the COVID
No,
grants go away?
Yeah, we
No, not at
budgeted
all.
for that salary. We budgeted for three salaries.
Okay. All right, got it.
Good questions. though.
Okay, got it.
His budget's more than just salaries, and that's what we gave him.
Looks like that's it.
Okay. Any other? Okay, seeing none. Those in favor of adopting resolution number 22-22 as presented, signify by saying aye.
I
I
Thank you.
just shot you.
Kelly, are you?
Thing.
Okay. Kelly, are you taking this piece or you want me up here?
No, I'm good. You're staying in here.
So now we have
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
the item that was added after these would be the transfer of funds addressing these two resolutions.
How do you want it stated? Just transfer the funds for the resolution. What are you looking for, Brady?
Kelly's looking for this.
I have the hard copy here if you'd like to.
So, and it's actually only addressing one of the resolutions that you did today, and that's for the airport fog seal, the 16,000. So the first one will be the 16,858.91 from county general to capital improvement. And that's how it needs to, it's just to approve the transfer of this from this fund to this fund.
No.
you've got a
It's-
copy of them. The first page would be the 16,858. Second page has 39,846.
That was given to me late, I didn't get
I
that.
didn't.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Well, let me let you
It's-
see those.
It's exactly what we just voted to do. Now we're just getting.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
Resolution.
and in Braden's conversations with Sam, this is how we gotta do certain.
Paper trail.
Sure,
Not
it's just
all
a
the
paper.
transfers, but or not all the resolutions that you do, but a majority of them.
Yeah, so this is, the auditor's main concern is that if we're moving money from one fund to another, it truly isn't required, but it's a good kind of stopgap for us to think again and make sure that we are, because as soon as we move anything from general fund, we've tied it up and we no longer have any access to be able to move it backwards.
Right.
So this is the kind of fail safe of, hey, we decided we were gonna transfer almost 17,000 in capital improvement. Once it goes in there, we're not able to touch it anymore. So that's.
We can't make a resolution to touch it if we wanted to.
No, because we've said that it is going to be spent on capital improvement, and so we've essentially restricted it
Right,
Right.
but
from
So it
general.
becomes a restricted
Yep.
fund amount, dollar amount.
Yeah.
we can't unrestrict it. Like,
Can't unrestricted.
Be like trying to unrestrict road and bridge, huh?
Right,
okay,
yeah,
yeah, you can't do that.
yeah, same with airport, any fund that's not general fund, we would have a harder time or impossible, I'm not sure, because
I
I'm
don't
not
think
asked
it's
that
impossible,
question, but yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we need a motion then to transfer $16,858.91 from the general fund to the capital improvement fund per resolution 22-2. Amen.
Are you making that motion?
Yes.
Second. So I have a motion on the floor to transfer, may I read that?
Read the
That's
bold,
why I didn't make the motion.
read the bold.
To transfer $16,858.91 from the county general fund
Wait a minute,
to the
that's
capital
that's
improvement fund per resolution 22-22. Any further discussions?
And that's, you're reading the airport one, because we had two of them, correct?
They both are in regards to the airport.
Braden has his hand up.
So again, just the resolution itself is saying that we're moving the budget amount. The transfer is physically moving one from the other. So that's the other, just the other specificness of this. These two different ones.
Let's see if we can do this.
Here, I have too many papers in front of me now. The other one is in regards to prior resolutions.
Okay.
So I will show that to you here again in a second. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So the motion on the floor is for 16,858.91. Is a transfer from the county general to capital improvement fund per resolution 22-22. So do we have further discussion on that? Okay, not seeing anything here in the room. Not seeing anything online. Those in favor of transferring 16,858.91 from county general fund to capital improvement fund per resolution 22-22, please signify by saying aye.
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 And that does not require our
No,
signature.
that's me. So then the next one, and Braden, you're probably gonna have to help with this one. It's for 39,846.50 from county general to the landfill expansion fund. For
Like that.
resolutions 2207 and 2208.
I
I don't
know I
remember
was
what we did those resolutions for.
I believe that was the, because Brian figures out in arrears what
Right.
what of the landfill fees goes towards that.
That's correct.
This is when we had
Oh, yeah.
changed what the budget numbers were.
Yeah.
We never actually authorized the funds to transfer from one to another. This is one of those that technically isn't transferring from general fund to another one, because Fund 19, even though we have it separate, is truly general fund. We
Right.
just separated it out.
Landfill is in the general fund.
Yeah.
And so that used to be the 1% increase from commercial and recycling. So this is just the 1% increase from commercial, right? Because recycling now goes into recycling.
Correct.
Yeah, and Kelly, if I'm not mistaken, it's not 1%, it was $1 per.
Or
cubic
dollar,
yard.
that's what, yeah,
And
I
I
had the one right.
thought you did. I thought we,
It is.
I can look at our land, our fee schedule, did we up that? It stated $1?
There were some increases.
Yeah, but I don't remember. I'm not gonna look it up now. I've got it on the fee schedule. that he
Yeah,
gave us.
that might, I wasn't at that
So
meeting.
I
so it
couldn't
may
swear
have-
that it's still $1, but it was
It was a
an
dollar
amount
per
per
last year.
cubic yard
Yes.
to go to the landfill expansion.
That was about.
So my apologies for
That's okay.
misleading.
I
all of
swore I
us.
saw landfill on there.
You
but-
did. So. So I would make a motion that we transfer $39,846.50 from the county general fund to the landfill expansion fund per resolutions 22-07 and 22-08.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion on these?
Yeah, I was just looking at the fee schedule for the landfill and that amount is not on there because it's not public. That was an internal decision that we made. So I'm assuming we didn't change it.
I
Should still be
believe we
$1
left it at
per
$1. Anything else?
Kevin, I do. Kelly, you had me double check and I'm glad you did. Those two resolutions were split because one is recycling and one is landfill expansion. So $28,762.50 of the number that I gave you is truly for recycling and should not go into landfill expansion. So
I wonder, I thought that seemed kind of high.
yeah.
So do we want to do a new transfer and we'll just do it next week?
That would be fine. I don't think there's any hurry.
There's no rush on it.
Yes.
So you're saying this 39,846 includes some
Should
recycling?
actually just be $11,084 or $11,084 even for landfill expansion.
I know you just asked me that, but I didn't hear. We're gonna postpone this.
So you can postpone it, or I guess you can change the amount and I'll just change it on, you can amend your amount and I'll just change it. And
we'll
then
need
do
to
we need to do one next week for the recycling fund, or does that
It doesn't
resolution automatically just,
Let me
we
think
might
on
have
that
to
now
do
that-
one for the
Now that we're
recycling.
creating a department, we'll
Yeah.
have to think about how we organize that.
So it would be cleaner if we just waited on everything here, probably.
Unless you need action today.
I think we could probably handle it today since we've already discussed it and just change that
Change that
30,
amount.
That was
$11,084.
To landfill expansion,
Yes.
even.
Even.
11,084.
And then that's only resolution 22-08. So we can cross out 07.
22-08. I would amend my motion then to transfer $11,084 and no cents from the county general fund to the landfill expansion fund per resolution 22-08.
So that's a substitute motion.
Yes,
Okay.
I would substitute that.
That's fine. I'll second it. We don't have to vote on the amendment.
Okay.
It's,
I
it
would
becomes a main
substitute that
motion.
motion.
Okay.
And you seconded.
Yes.
Okay, any further discussion?
Apologize for overlooking that.
Well, I'm glad we caught it.
Well, happy and sad.
Well,
Sad that we're not running 40 grand into our landfill expansion, which we could use, but happy that recycling is gonna get the appropriate share of that. So,
okay. I'm not seeing any hands online, nothing here in the room. So those in favor of transferring $11,084.00 from the county general fund to the landfill expansion fund per resolution 22-08, please signify by saying aye.
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 Everybody still good here? Next item on our agenda is consideration of moving Justin Giroux from an alternate planning commission board member to a sitting planning commission board member
We get to hear Keith talk.
with the term ending January of 2024.
Okay, the only question I have, the suggestion I have is that all our terms on the planning commission, we went over these and we should have 2, 2, and 3. And I think there's, in 1 year, there's 4. So if you use this opportunity to solve one of those problems, probably would be a good chance.
I thought that from the notes from that meeting, that 2024 was the fix.
It is.
It is the fix.
2025 is the problem.
Right, so this would be the fix.
Yes.
Not, yeah, it's not continuing the problem.
So this
Correct.
would put us back in the proper rotation for
that
terms
member.
ending on that board.
Yeah.
If we went with ending January 2024.
And my understanding, if I may, sir, that
You may.
Mr. Giroux will replace late Mr. Barnes.
Yes. But he will not run the same term.
Right.
We'll just replace him.
Right.
He will not fill out his term.
So that would leave 3 in terms expiring in 2025, 2 expiring in 2024, and 2 expiring in 2023. That's your understanding?
Yes.
So we're approving your recommendation to have Justin Giroux become a full-time member, really. Of what we're doing. As opposed to an alternate.
And that's gonna leave us short on alternates. But
You can bring others on, correct?
well, yes, I can bring other alternate applications to you guys.
Right, have you gotten anybody wanting to do it yet?
I haven't got any.
You haven't got any letters out?
I've
You have a
asked for
request
some.
out?
I've asked for some.
We
Okay,
do have one on the agenda today.
Pat Bailey,
Oh, he did send it in?
no, you all asked me to put that on the agenda.
Okay, he has
Sure.
not sent me a letter.
Okay,
He has not sent you guys a letter because he is has a personal emergency right now. And so he did, he would get back to me.
so
Okay,
I would move that we approve the addition of Justin Giroux as a sitting planning commission board member whose term would end January
24. I'll second it.
yeah, I have a motion on the floor then to move Justin Giroux from an alternate PC board member to a sitting PC board member with his term ending January of 2024. Further discussion. anything here in the room?
No.
Okay, those in favor can signify by saying aye.
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 And then I would move, sir, that we postpone the item of business of consideration of adding Pat Bailey as an associate planning commission board member until Mr. Hood brings us a formal recommendation.
I would second that.
The reason that I would rather that you didn't today is because I had asked you to send a letter. And I have not got the letter back. I don't know what his family situation is right now, so.
Yeah, I think, well, did you second it?
I did second,
Okay.
so we're in discussion.
Yeah, I think it's prudent that we wait.
Jennifer,
Would this be unfinished business when it comes back?
No,
It would just be new business. Thank you.
sorry.
no, that's fine. It'd be nice to have one under unfinished business once, so wouldn't it?
Well, we could get
You can
crazy and
table
put it under there, but
Someone want to pull the file?
Braden will be in here yelling at me if we do.
So, all right, so I do have a motion on the floor then to postpone the consideration of adding Pat Bailey as an alternate PC board member. Further discussion?
Well, the reason I said postpone instead of table it is because we don't know when that's gonna happen, and postpone allows us to bring it back anytime we want.
Okay.
Do you need more than that, or just one?
Well, we only have two.
Okay.
We usually only have two.
So you still have one,
Yeah, we still have one.
and who's that?
Carol?
Carol Bailey.
Okay. Those in favor of postponing the consideration of adding Pat Bailey as an alternate PC board member, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we now have the new item that was added. Recycling committee bylaws,
Recycling board.
recycling board.
Bylaws, yes. Clint, did you get yours?
I did, and I do have a couple of comments on this. I was actually looking at something else. There are two Article 9s. And one says voting, the other one says annual report. So those numbers need to be changed.
Good catch, thank you, that's on me.
Well, the Article 9 on voting, that second sentence, CCR board members may vote. Abstemia is not a word, it should be in absentia.
We had that conversation. It was originally in abstentia. Is that not the correct spelling? I could not determine that.
ABSTENTIA.
That's
Abstention.
why. There's two T's. Thank you, sir.
And it is, the term is
In
in abstention.
abstentia, yeah. And gentlemen, I told the board that I would fix any changes that needed to be fixed based on the actions today. They said that was fine. So Article 9 is voting, Article 10 is the annual report, and Article 11 is amendments, and Article 12 is committees. Is that how you see it, sir?
Yeah.
Good catch, thank you. I don't know what we're paying him, but based on his thing on the voting, I think we need to raise his.
Well, okay, I'll remember that when I submit my budget request to Brady.
You didn't hear these two say anything, though, did you? So 2 to 1 probably not gonna fly.
Probably not.
So if it's okay, Mr. Chairman, we'll just hit the highlights of this real quick. I apologize for not getting it to you before this morning. Again, overall, it's just the set of bylaws that's going to govern the board. They chose not to be considered a board of directors. It's It's really an
Advisory.
advisory board, but they settled on the board. And so the duties, pretty straightforward, although we're getting ready to approve those duties. So to oversee the policies, procedures, and overall operations of the Custer County Recycles, to recommend to the BOCC the hiring and or termination of a program manager, to recommend to the BOCC in accordance with county budgetary policies, the proposed annual budget, and to make other recommendations as needed or required by the Board of County Commissioners. And just so you understand the overall hierarchy there, the program manager would have the authority as quote unquote a department head to hire and fire an operations manager without coming to the Board of County Commissioners, if it's within their budget. If it's a non-budget thing, then obviously it would have to come to the commissioner. But the board, it will be tasked of making recommendations on the program manager, with program manager and operations manager. And then the board, of course, would answer to the Board of County Commissioners. Memberships open to anybody. The appointments would be made from a recommendation of the board to the Board of County Commissioners to happen in January at our regular appointment meeting. A minimum of 5, maximum of 7 members. They have discussion. If they end up with 6 members and a motion ends up in a 3-3 vote, it will just die. There's no tie breaking. They were good with that. Ex officio member, pretty standard, no voting rights, cannot hold an office, not subject to member attendance policies, which there are none in here. So they're going to try to meet monthly until they're totally up and functioning, and then they want to move to a quarterly schedule. The notifications are in here 24 hours before the start of a meeting to be posted on the bulletin board in the highway or in the hallway, 72 hours for special meeting notice to their own members. And then, of course, the 24-hour posting requirement would apply to that. Quorums. Majority of the voting members present. Sorry, there's a slight distinction there. It's not the majority of the members present, it's the majority of the members of the board are present. So there are some quorums, if 6 people show up on a 12-member board, the quorum is the majority of the people present. And this says that if the majority of the members of the board are present, then they can constitute a quorum, which is pretty standard, actually. Officers, they've decided chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. The treasurer will be mostly oversight. The program manager would do the day-to-day financial operations and report to the treasurer. 3-year terms for office. 1-year term and no more than 3 consecutive terms to hold an office.
I've got to correct myself. I'm losing my salary increase because it's in absentia. Just one T, but it's absent.
Okay,
With
thank you.
IA on the end, not absentia.
Thanks. And I found that absentia, but it was in 2 separate words, AB space sentia, which didn't make any sense to me. I
That's
thought
a
it was all
long
one
word,
word.
but
So,
it is just
yeah.
in absent.
Yeah.
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 Absentia.
okay. So, and obviously, state legislature has passed laws to say that organizations can change how they vote given the technology. So they threw that in there. Annual report, I should go back up because I missed something I think, gentlemen, you should be aware of and probably interested in, and that is the duties of the chair or a designee shall provide a monthly report to BOCC during a regular meeting of the BOCC to be held on the first Wednesday. So we added a staff report on Wednesday. We picked that only because landfill was that same day. And not that they're tied together at the hip, but just they thought it made more sense to both be here that way if one question overlapped. Because there may be some overlapping of services out there. So the chairman or his or her, the chairperson, I'm sorry, or his or her designee will be here on Wednesday to give us a staff report.
And they will present their report to us prior to the meeting.
Well,
It
absolutely.
will
If
definitely
that's
be
what the
to
chair
Jennifer
requests,
Clee's desk. So that she can have it.
that would be up to Miss Jennifer to make sure that that conversation is had, because
Hey, I send out requests. If they don't respond, not on me. That's.
oh,
on them.
yeah, it is. You gotta keep badgering.
I badger them.
Yeah, well, we didn't talk about that specifically, Kevin, but I don't think that would be a problem. Yeah, and then the rest of it's pretty straightforward. The adoption page. And Mr. Attorney, so we can get you back up in the salary thing, in witness whereof on the adoption page. I just thought about this. Does the Custer County Recycle Board execute these bylaws, or do the Board of County Commissioners execute?
No, they execute them, you approve them.
And so you agree with that statement, has executed these bylaws on this date? Because I think it probably should say adopt in BOCC.
Adopted these bylaws. Might not be a bad idea to have, accepted and approved by the Board of County Commissioners as a separate entry down below.
Okay.
With a date there.
Okay,
They
so
need the dates to match.
So leave the CCR board has executed these bylaws in there,
Yeah, I would leave that the way it is.
and then do the whole other thing and substitute.
Down below, after everything that's here, then add these bylaws are accepted and approved by the Board of County Commissioners this 31st day of August.
Okay.
With a place for just Kevin to sign as chair.
Right, okay.
Do that.
It is done, sir. Thank you. Yes, I'll have that. You can print that out.
Got a couple quick questions, Tom.
Go ahead, sir.
Just a quick one. What's the difference between the program manager and the operations manager?
Great question.
Is there more program than just the
Well,
operations?
so by design, the operation manager is actually going to be in the recycle building, running the baler, handling the volunteers and doing all that. The program manager will be arranging for volunteers, researching the markets for those recyclables, hiring and firing, advertising, marketing, education piece, handling any other grants. It's really the true overall program will be managed by that person. And right now, that person is half-time with some financial assistance for that salary from the grant that's been used up now. And then the program or the operations manager is that continuation of that half-time program that's been in place all along out there, one Dennis Spector. So
it's sort of like a vice chair.
the operations manager,
No, the
program manager, well,
Or
the
the big
program
picture
manager
guy.
is just the manager that answers to the board.
yeah, I get that.
So, and the board has a vice chair. That's why I hesitate to
Ah.
say, yeah. The program manager in the hierarchy of things, works for the board works for us.
Okay,
And really, the operations manager is answerable, so must work for the program manager. And you may or may not be aware, we have a program manager until this time tomorrow. She has resigned effective September 1st.
was that right?
Yes, I may have been remiss in, because did we get a letter of resignation from her?
I believe so.
I think so, and that's what, Braden's still here, sorry.
Yeah.
And then we moved forward with the process of posting that vacancy announcement because we did get a letter of resignation from her. Yeah, and her being Kathy Lurie. Health reasons, she's just uncomfortable with her ability to do a good enough job to stay in that position.
And that is our halftime position.
That is a halftime position. So I think at some point, the board will probably have a discussion about what that looks like moving forward. Is it going to be a full-time position and one person doing both operations and programmatic work, or are they going to leave it at 2 halftime positions? Don't know. Are we close to posting that vacancy announcement?
Yeah, I think tomorrow, since the board, the recycles board will meet tomorrow, that we'll hammer out anything that we need to there and then make sure that it's posted in the papers for next week.
Because it's been a little funky. The board's chomping at the bit to get moving, and they know they really can't until these bylaws are adopted. So. Any other questions?
So you have a couple of strikeouts here you're gonna unload.
Yeah, so I'm adding the BOCC has adopted these bylaws if the motion passes. And the signature line for the BOCC chair. I think historically, we all three did not sign bylaws, Mr. Attorney. Would
Yeah,
you
I'd
agree
say
with that?
that approved and adopted. Attorneys never just use one word when they can use two.
Your name was brought up yesterday in the development of these bylaws, sir.
I'm sure in a very nice way.
Oh, yeah. Had to do with money. So we don't need that upon adoption by the required 2/3 of the CCR board. These bylaws shall become final. They still need to adopt them themselves, correct?
Right, they
Yeah.
do, and then,
Okay.
so I guess probably you really shouldn't approve them until they've been officially signed by the chair of the CCR board.
Well, there isn't officially a CCR board without these
Well, I
bylaws.
guess that's right.
So, and we had that conversation yesterday. And so I did poll that group and said, by consent, are you okay with me presenting these bylaws? And they all consented. So that's where we're coming from.
Well, I would just have the chair go ahead and date it the same date then.
Okay. Dated today or for our meeting tomorrow?
I'd make it retroactive to today.
Okay. Other questions?
Just real quick, and the last one I
Yep.
had was Article 3, you got the fiscal year, the CCR, you struck board shall begin on a certain date, and then the registered office of the CCR board. I don't know.
Yeah.
The board is an office. Would be the CCRC.
Yeah, that, you're right. And I apologize for not getting that struck board out of there. So even though these are bylaws for the board, the registered office for Custer County Recycles, which includes the board,
Right.
are here.
Right.
That was the intent, and I forgot to get rid of both of those boards. Great pickup.
So up on the very top, you're gonna delete the strikeout recycles board or.
Yes. That's why you were asking, sir, about the strikeouts. No, yeah. And again, we left this as a draft until we got through this
Right, it is a
process,
draft.
then I'll remove that watermark. Yeah. And again, to revise these bylaws is not nearly as complicated as some bylaws. So if we have to make other changes, then most likely we'll move them forward.
That's pretty short and sweet.
Yeah, so. They can revise these at any,
So do we have a motion?
no,
Not yet.
any regular scheduled meeting. They don't have to give prior notice like some.
Did you want to make one?
I'll make a motion to accept the bylaws as amended.
Adopt.
And adopt them.
Second,
Motion on the floor to adopt the bylaws for Custer County Recycles Board as amended.
I'm gonna remove that watermark right now.
Any further discussion?
If I shoot Jennifer a copy of these unwatermarked bylaws, can we print those out and sign those today?
If you could print those, he's gonna send it to you, so we can get a copy for me to sign.
Yep.
Great.
If the motion passes, of course.
Putting on my Silver Cliff Board of Trustees hat, I'm the representative for the CC Recycles Board. And I think just something to point out, something we're piloting in the board that would be a little different from other boards in Custer County is that we're gonna be posting draft minutes within, did we say 2 weeks?
Yes.
Within 2 weeks of a meeting happening. That way the public is more aware of things happening, especially when we get to a quarterly schedule. It's not 3 months in arrears that people are able to see what happened at that meeting. And then we're voting on something.
Are you trying to
3
make
months
Kelly
later.
work harder?
Kelly? No, I don't think Kelly has to work hard.
Trying to keep us from getting yelled.
You're 2 weeks after we do our thing.
No, these aren't.
I know he's not. I was
He's
kidding.
trying to make me look
Make you
bad.
feel bad.
I think that was your point, right?
Yeah, that was my point.
Yeah. You know, we've consistently had comments about, hey, how do I find out? Why aren't the minutes posted, blah, blah, blah. And typically it's been, we don't post any unapproved
Yeah,
minutes.
approved.
And so the board said, let's post ours with a draft watermark on them. Because if they move to that quarterly, that's 3 months without the public knowing what the heck's going on. So they're gonna post them within 2 weeks after the meeting with a watermark.
Which of course they're welcome to attend when the meeting happens in public, but.
Oh, that's true. It is open to the public, isn't it?
But I think just as a board member, I think that's something that I'd want the BOCC to be aware of, to kind of check in on us and see how that's working. And if there's some good movement right there.
Thank you for bringing that up, sir. I probably should have remembered to mention that because it is a big change.
Now he's gonna have to take his hat off.
Okay,
Anything else? Okay, those in favor of adopting the bylaws for the Custer County Recycles Board, please signify by saying aye.
I,
And when you get that signed by them, Tom, can I get
yes. Copy of that.
either the original or a copy?
Okay, yep. You can.
Do you ladies, we are at a point we could let you speak if you have a minute. Or are you needing to leave now?
No, I think we have a minute.
My
We have
apologies.
mobile office hours at 11, so
In Westcliff?
in Silver Cliff,
Yeah, in Custer County,
yes.
11:30, 11:40.
Well, my apologies for keeping you waiting this
Oh,
this
no,
long.
no problem at all.
where is it, town hall?
At the town hall, yes. But I have a couple of questions. What's the water situation? With, yes,
The-
Water.
In regards to
The
Town of
town of Westland.
Yes,
So you're talking about Round Mountain Water and Sanitation District,
yes, that
water
one,
and sewer.
yes, that one.
Water's not a problem. It's the sanitation side.
And
It
have they
just-
been able to delay the public health for, until they can get money?
It's twofold. One is they got new technology they're getting grants for and working. It's really looking promising. And so
Okay,
they're pushing on that, and it's probably a good thing. So that'll help get by at least and understand that it's been worked. So it looks successful right now.
good, because I know you weren't going to, but somebody was going to put a moratorium on building homes.
Yeah, they didn't. They put a moratorium on selling water and sewer taps, which led to somewhat of a moratorium on building because
Right.
Can't do
they
it
also
without
have a rule that if somebody buys a tap from Round Mountain Water and Sewer District, which is a taxing district here, we don't really have anything to do with that, that they had no more than 1 year, they had to connect that to a structure. There, I just talked to the chairman of the district and the board, and they're considering not waiving that, but adding an extension of a year onto that, because I think in a year they may be in place to do that. But
Yeah.
interestingly enough, they've been averaging 7 to 12 taps a year selling those. And when they put that moratorium on those taps starting in January 1 of 2022, in December, they sold 78. It was amazing.
Betting on the
It's
come.
amazing.
Absolutely amazing. So, because they felt they could still service up to 80 taps with their current situation.
But
So
it's,
they never put a moratorium on building. That was,
okay,
that's an unintended, well, it was an intended consequence, but they did not do that. That was just the fallout from putting a moratorium on selling any further sewer taps. It really wasn't water. They'll sell a water tap today. They won't install it because they install the water and the sewer at the same time.
right.
So matter
So
of
it is
fact,
moving along and they're getting some help
Yeah.
and grants money
Yeah.
coming in, hopefully.
Yeah.
What about the telephone situation?
In the hard
On the
scrabble.
hard scrabble.
Yes,
it's like it was 2 years ago.
it's still the same.
Yes,
What
it is.
has, what's the company name, Quest?
Well, it was
CenturyLink.
CenturyLink done.
So they're paying for they're still paying for the phone, but there's 25 phones out.
Uh-huh.
And of that, most of them are summertime, part-time.
Sorry.
And they haven't gotten there's no business case right now. But what's gonna happen, we hope, is when we get the fiber down the hard scrabble, we can connect to that same box and pick them up.
But they're not connected.
No,
No,
Why?
there's no
Because
connectivity.
you just can't do it.
There's not enough base for them to consider expending those funds.
Well, it was their line.
Yeah, well, here's their answer. Sat phone to every
Okay.
resident down there. I happen to have this one because this guy said, you can take that and do whatever you want with it. I'll tell you what I think you should do with it. I said, well, I'm not gonna do that, but I'll contact CenturyLink. Well, CenturyLink said, you know what, just hold on to it. We don't want to back $4,000 phone.
Well, thank you for that update.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Well, the House has been in session, out of session. They're gonna go back in a couple of weeks, and the Congresswoman is still pushing the forest bill because of the wildfires. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of other things that are coming up this fall, who
Yeah.
knows what.
Yeah.
And you have an update?
I don't, just wanted to let you know I'm here and represent this part of the state, and so
Good.
please call upon me if we can help. And unfortunately, Round Mountain did request CDS funds for
Yeah,
the
they did,
wastewater
I
treatment
know.
plant, and
Everything got turned down as far as I know on everything. Would you give your card to Jennifer?
Sure, absolutely.
That would be great, because like I said to you ladies earlier, we're still trying to move forward with our Justice Center, and our initiative failed on the ballot last year, and we're still looking to move forward. We have dropped the jail out of that and are gonna try to move forward with the sheriff's office and the court in that. That being said, given the delay, the cost is still gonna be roughly the same. So we're still looking at 18 to 20 million. That's a number that's
Right, and as
very
you're
rough.
working on that project, if you can break it up,
Mhm.
you know, design work, you know, little
Engineering.
section, yeah, engineering and so forth. It's easier to get funds that way because you can apply to different places and use each other for, I already got this money, we need this money. Okay, because that will really help. So and I'll send you the list of the grants that I do have for jails and justice centers and so forth.
Good.
And if groundwater still needs more money down the line, let me know and we'll look at it through House Appropriations Committee.
So I heard you say if Round Mountain needs more money, you will get it. That's
No,
what I just heard you say.
I said.
You'll
let
get a
me
grant,
know.
look for a grant.
I will take it to the Appropriations Committee. He's sneaky.
You always have to say what you think you heard.
That's right.
Very-
I think I heard you say, yeah.
That's what you want me to say.
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, and by their estimates now, they've gone from, I think they were at 16 million down to 5 or 6 million with this new technology.
I thought it was like 2.8.
Is
I
it?
recall.
Okay, I haven't met with them for a while, so it's come way down.
Pretty big deal.
They were,
Which I would love to see happen because then it could serve as a model. to
And I
other
think that's why
counties
people
or-
are latching on to
Yes.
it because of them.
Yeah.
They're using it as a beta test. So.
No, if you talk to them, let them know that we can look at taking it to the House Appropriations Committee, since the House does the budget.
yeah, because we have vested interest. We got 19 lots that we own, the county owns at Silver Cliff. We can't get infrastructure to them right now for affordable housing.
And you need affordable housing.
Yes, we do. Can you get us some money for that? You said that. Good.
I heard it.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, we really appreciate you guys sticking with us until now so that we can visit.
Now, we'll be here more often. I will be.
Sounds like it. You got,
Just
you got an
until the end of
office
the
now. You
year.
have no excuse.
Sure, no problem.
Thanks.
I'm
Take
sure,
care.
again, we will
Take care.
move you way up on the agenda, so you're not sitting there
Oh,
holding.
yeah.
You're learning anything.
Thank you.
Well, that's how I learn.
Right.
That's how I
Nice to
learn.
meet you. Take care.
Then I'll find out how the recycling is going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know if it was sent to DC or Denver?
These are for his signature.
Jennifer.
The letter that was sent to Michael Bennett, was that sent to Denver or to Washington DC?
Michael, we haven't sent it yet.
Okay.
We're, okay, I thought it went out. So
No,
I did
you
not sign
wanted-
it yet.
no.
It's supposed to be ready for me today to
Yes, and
sign.
I have it ready.
So,
It'll eventually find its way to me, so.
okay,
Okay.
which would be the best place to send it?
I would say to send it to the federal office.
The federal office?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, I'll look that up.
Yeah, it's on my card.
Okay, perfect.
good information.
All right, thank you.
I put 2 copies there so then they can have an original and Kelly can have an original if he'll sign.
Okay, thank you.
What letter?
This is for the adoption of the asking for help in regards to funding for the Justice Center. I had said at that meeting I would reach out.
Oh, I wasn't. Cool.
Okay, any additional items of business?
Not for me.
I do, sir.
Okay,
I will not be in attendance at the next Justice Center meeting, which I believe is scheduled for September the 8th. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought I heard you say no.
Yeah, I was responding to her.
So I just want to let you know that we have a family funeral in Denver that afternoon at 1 o'clock, which I understand meetings at 3, is that correct?
That's right.
So I will not be there. And then also wanted to mention that today is Marilyn's last day on the job, and I would defer to Kelly if she can give us a little background and all that, but I wanted to acknowledge her and her work.
Yeah.
We got a party tomorrow.
Yes, yeah, so she's retiring. Today is her last day. She's worked for the county for 25 years.
Wow.
So been here a while. Started out actually in Doris's office, the treasurer, part-time, and then Debbie, who's the clerk, was able to work her in part-time, so she kind of floated back and forth, and then came over full-time for Debbie
Years ago.
5 years ago, yeah, probably 20 years ago. And yes, we are having a retirement, just a little cake and
Social.
punch, yeah, in the courtroom
Oh,
tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So we'd love to, even though I failed to send you an email about it, I would love to have you.
yeah, I read about it in the paper.
Yes, it's a good thing I put it in the paper then.
Yes, it is.
But we got an email now.
Yes.
Tomorrow
We
at
did.
5.
Oh.
I did send you an email.
No, Amy did.
Oh, yes, because, yes, I sent it to all the department heads and she said, you did? Because there's a lot of people that
That
work
don't know
here
about
that
it."
don't know about it. And I said, well, the department heads failed then. So,
Yeah.
yes,
I see we did have an email from Amy, but I had no idea
Oh,
what it
good,
was
yeah.
about. So, got
Yeah.
a big picture and
yes, yeah. She had,
Oh,
oh,
that's
yes.
awesome.
Yeah, they decorated her spot for her and
yeah.
she packed up all her little.
Did she get all those
solar-
darn little
Her little
wiggly
solar
things?
babel-
Really?
babies
She taking them?
yesterday. She
That's
took
not
them.
fair.
Yeah.
Jordan Benson wanted to take him out and line him up on a fence and blast him with his gun. You can imagine how that went over.
That would not.
He didn't get a lot of traction for that, but anyway, I just wanted to mention that. and
Yes.
Give you a chance to
Yes,
talk about Marilyn. You've been a good employee. and
she will be missed. She's very knowledgeable in the motor vehicle world and
She will be missed.
Thank goodness I got my last recycled trailer
Trailer
plate
done.
tour today, because nobody else is gonna have the patience that she's had with me on these. But yeah, so.
I have another public comment or comment. Dorothy needs to say something.
I wondered why she was hanging around here.
I had attempted to get on the agenda today, but I would like to see if it's possible for us to schedule a workshop. And some of the topics probably the main topic would include code enforcement. I was very much inundated with issues, so. And I think some of them are gonna end up being bigger issues if we don't figure out how to enforce them. And maybe it's my lack of knowledge. But I think a lot of it is just continuous follow-up.
Yeah, I don't know if it's lack of knowledge. I think you inherited a lack of code enforcement for the county. And it's been an issue all along, which they kind of
Yeah, it has. And
tough.
I mean, Jackie took it all upon herself to do it. I almost need a separate code enforcement officer to really stay on top of all these things.
I would be available on the 7th. We're not having a commission meeting on the 7th. We have a commissioner meeting on the 6th, but because we rolled both of those meetings into one, no idea what time we're gonna get done on the 6th, so I hesitate, Mr. Chair, to recommend that.
I am trying to get you all out of here by 1. That's my goal. But just be aware that we may need to bring snacks if you're gonna get in by 1.
Well, we could do it in that afternoon at 3 or
Workshop at 3.
Speaking to that calendar,
something on the 6th.
I I believe that my 7th will
Well,
be
maybe
open now because he has
No, I
scheduled
can't do it.
a bone marrow. And so that
Can't do it on the
treatment
6th.
will go away.
Can't do it.
Let's leave the BOCC as it is. It's just gonna be too confusing to change that.
Yeah.
But you're tied up. in the
So, but
afternoon.
that might work for the workshop.
Yeah. I wondered about the afternoon of 14th. Is that too late?
Are you not available on the
Yes,
7th or the
no.
6th, Bill?
It's waited this long, but I,
Yeah, sooner the better.
yeah.
I could certainly be available on the 7th.
You say you're not?
Yeah, I'm tough, but
On the 7th as well.
yeah, but I may be.
Yeah,
able to-
see, that's the trouble because we abandoned the 7th and I started
Yeah.
filling that in. I could get out of some stuff, but we
But
could
you're
try
gonna be gone
it.
on the 8th.
Pardon?
You're gonna be gone on the 8th.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
If you live with the 12th, that would work for me.
As far as I know, that works
12
for
would
me.
be all right for me.
Monday,
Is planning commission.
Yeah.
what time?
1:30.
Yeah, we'd probably do this workshop in the morning.
I'll have to check on the 12th.
Your planning commission on the 12th. at 1:30. What about Tuesday, 13th?
That'd be easier with that. When is the Board of Commissioners meeting? I think on the 14th.
Yeah.
Let's do it then.
I meet in the afternoon,
Yeah.
14th.
Yeah,
Gets down the calendar a little further, but
but it saves some time.
Following the meeting in Wetmore.
Uh-huh.
up here.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
I can do
you
that.
got anything to say about that?
I
Is
have a sched meeting from 10 to 11. I could do early
On
afternoon
which day?
on the 14th.
No, you do not, sir. You have a Board County Commissioners meeting on the 14th.
Okay, I do it 9 to 10, so
Oh,
the
you were,
sched has been changed.
Oh,
It's on
okay.
the 25th.
oh, okay.
I
If
did
you
not
think
get
we
that
get
out
done
of-
at Wetmore by
I didn't
10.
get it out on my calendar.
Okay, all right.
So yes, I would be available.
Afternoon, the 14th.
Afternoon, the
So
14th.
shall we do 1 o'clock
Mm,
or 12:30?
Well, normally we do 1:30, just in
1:30.
case our meetings run long down there. We've got to
Okay.
drive home and get lunch. What
Yeah.
do you think, gents?
1:30.
1:30? Is that all right with you?
1:30? I'll get it
Dorothy?
posted.
Yep.
I'll post it correctly.
So,
I'll write up an agenda. Okay. Because I have some, I need to do a little bit of homework yet.
okay, so
Well, and
that'll
do you
be
need
a,
an agenda for a workshop or
Yeah,
just, does it just say
I'll show
workshop?
you, we'll do it.
for the BOCC workshop.
Yep, I've seen them, but I didn't see an agenda underneath it.
We
other
don't
than
have
workshop.
I'll get you the agenda items, and we can do it together.
live stream those.
Yeah, and you don't have to have a.
Doesn't need to publish the
You don't
agenda.
have to publish the agenda.
Yeah,
You
Just
just
the-
have an agenda for them
Okay.
and you guys.
We do need to give public notice we're having a workshop.
Yeah, yes,
For
And we do not need live stream.
perfect. I will get it posted that we're having it.
1:30.
1:30. I got that.
Thank you. Thanks.
Hopefully that will. We'll all bring our planning and zoning Bibles. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, George,
See you,
you still
Dorothy.
want to see me, right?
Yeah.
I'll be over in a few minutes.
Okay, any other additional items of business?
Negative.
Oh, the only other thing that I want to do, that I forgot to tell you all was that I've sent out notices recommending anybody who had received money for the Conservation Trust Fund money, that they go ahead and submit things. I'm already getting some people responding back and making sure that they file a report with, in order to be considered.
Okay.
And that went out. So if there are other people you would like me to send notices to, or if I need to send a notice to the papers that Conservation Trust Fund, let me know. I just am not sure. I'm just going off of what has happened in the past.
And so if I file a report on last year's?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So you're
With us.
asking for a request for next year?
Correct. I'm asking
Yeah.
for a request for next year, and that in order to be considered, they need to tell us where they spent this money, if they've spent it already.
You should have, so those reports should be signed and everything before a check goes out. So you should have those that.
Yes, but what they're saying is what they're going to do, and what Dola has said is that we should have an invoice after they've spent it, showing what they've done, because we ran
Oh, that's
into,
changed. then.
Yeah. So
yeah,
we give them the money, then they have to report back how they spent it, and then she reports to DOLA.
right, because at the
So-
annual report, we ran into this year, is that their annual report, I have to say where they've spent it, and that I should have some kind of receipt and accountability after they've spent it, not before they've spent it.
So they're no longer accepting you to do it, give it like we've given it in the past.
Like on a reimbursement deal.
Well, in the past, you could give them, we're gonna give you $5,000.
Right.
And they're gonna use it to do something other than what's required. But they do what's required they're gonna spend it on something other than what's required, but we pay them to do what's required,
So-
if that makes sense.
So what it is,
So
the
like
way that I understand it, like an example is All Aboard Westcliff. They actually keep Veterans Park clean. Their volunteers come out and do that.
Right.
We pay All Aboard Westcliff to keep it clean.
Right.
Now, they want to spend that $1,000 to do something else, and they can. We're just paying them to keep it clean.
Right.
Yes.
But I have to have an invoice from All Aboard Westcliff saying that we're paying them to keep it clean.
That's fair.
That's it.
So they just make up their own.
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's just something that we keep, so when we're audited, they can
Yeah.
say, hey, this money was spent here.
Yeah.
Now, any organization that already receives CTF funds, we don't necessarily have to have an invoice from. But I'm just making a blanket request. So then we dot our i's and cross our t's and hopefully don't have an issue like we've had this year, where the language that they use was not allowable.
It's mostly semantics, how they
Yeah.
word it, but they
Yeah.
worded it wrong and we
and then, yeah,
awarded it. Now we gotta get our money back.
Yep.
Yeah, and we always did that kind of that post-award report back to DOLA, but now they want invoices, paid copies of paid invoices that we actually paid them.
And she said that they more than likely won't even ask for them, but it's better to be safe than sorry.
Who's
that
she?
you have them on file. in
That we
case
have
they
them
want
on
to
file
see.
just in
Who is
case.
she? That was the-
Leslie
Leslie,
with DOLA,
yeah.
she's the one,
the
the
new-
point person.
Yeah,
So that's why, and she said that's fine moving forward, that it's best practice.
So it's the same as the form you send out saying that this is what we're gonna do, only now you want an invoice instead of the form.
Yeah, just something for
'Cause
telling
we
you
just
what
did
they've
those
done.
letters.
Yeah,
We
or
got
a
those
letter,
back reports
yeah.
and, but we talked about if you don't send us that report, you're not in the queue for next year because we're gonna have to cough that money up.
Right.
If we can't.
Well, and in the past, they don't even get their check till you send that, till they send you that report.
The initial report or the work that's been done,
They send you a request.
right?
You guys put that in the budget, then they have to request their money. And say, we want our money now, and then we send out that form saying, okay, what are you gonna do with that money? They fill out that form, send it back, we cut a check.
Okay, well, we probably skipped that. What are you gonna do? with that money.
Yeah,
step
well,
this year.
you have, they have to give you that before they get their money. Because otherwise
I
you're never gonna
know.
get it.
A lot of those were turned in.
They were, the challenge
They just put
is
the wrong
they
thing.
put in language that is not allowable by DOLA.
Mhm.
And so if we, at the end, are saying, hey, where did you spend
And
it?
they can't say I spent on everything else.
Correct.
And that's how it got reported to DOLA, so that's why you gotta give that back.
Right.
Yeah, and we're in the process of getting that 2,500 back and
And 1,000, and I don't know that I'm gonna be able to get it back from all aboard. I'm working on that. And it's all about, they use.
It's sort of not
policing.
fair in it.
No, and because it
reported
wasn't, because they're hard to reach,
And we can't argue that with DOLA and get them to write the right thing.
I am trying.
Yeah.
But we had a report that was due yesterday, in order to be able to receive September funds. And I, after 2 emails and a mailing and 2 phone calls to all aboard, I finally got in touch with somebody yesterday, but I had to file my report. Saying that we're gonna give that money back because their language was policing when it was really maintaining and keeping things going as opposed to policing.
so worst case scenario, we'll have to transfer $1,000. into
Correct.
CTF from somewhere
But that-
general fund.
But I had to do that in order for us to get a September check.
Yeah.
And
But maybe we can still argue with them.
correct, I've already sent it to
Okay.
them requesting that, but I cannot go into their form.
Okay.
So anyway, I forgot to put that in my report, sorry.
Not a problem. Anything else?
Yes, sir. If I may.
Go ahead.
So wanted to get some clarification about this executive session this afternoon. That's for legal advice,
Correct.
not from you.
No,
You won't be part and parcel of the legal advice conversation.
no, I spoke to the attorney and he wants to ask questions of you to get more information from you, and then as I understand it, give you his take on the case as it stands now.
And we don't have any say-so about this attorney, right? The insurance company has hired this
CTSI hired
attorney
him,
to
correct.
represent us.
Right.
And we'll be able to ask that attorney questions.
Sure.
Yeah, it's the attorney-client privilege for the 2 of you individually.
Right.
And one as the Board of County Commissioners as an entity. But yes, he'll certainly answer all the questions. I don't know if he's spoken to either the 2 of you yet or not, but he does want to get some more information. And I think he'll share his thoughts on the case at that point, but we didn't really get into that at all. He just.
So we're not hiring this attorney.
No, it's being paid for by CTSI. And I think if you saw the email response that Braden got from CTSI, that they're the ones that make the decision. I mean, I think as far as, if there's any, I'd rather have the attorney explain it. I don't want to get this mixed up, but CTSI gets to call the shots on it as the insurance carrier.
And we are not going to adjourn this meeting.
I will recess this meeting and go into executive session so that we can come out of executive session
And conduct business if
if
necessary.
necessary.
Right, and certainly I'm available for legal advice or my input in it, but this is more for you to discuss this with the attorney.
So this isn't right now.
No, 1:30.
1:30 when he
And I can't remember why. we
What
did
is it,
that.
1:30?
1
Yeah,
o'clock.
1:30, yeah.
My suggestion would
Yeah,
be that they've sent a link to me at least for the Zoom to join a Zoom meeting with the attorney. And I guess my suggestion would be that maybe we recess until 12:55 to go through the proceedings to get into executive session. Then we're ready to just zoom in and get the business at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, or even 12:50, because it may take a little bit to get hooked up, connected.
Knowing how that is.
Um,
I know you guys left for lunch, so I didn't.
Yeah, well. So when we come back at whatever time, let's say 12:50, 12:55, you will reconvene the commissioners meeting, correct?
And then we'll make a
Go into
motion to go
executive
into
session.
executive session.
And we haven't gotten to the very end of our agenda. The point is, there will be a time for public comment at the end of our meeting after the executive session.
Unless they want.
Actually, it's on before the executive session.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Channel 9 specifically asked if they would be allowed to attend the open portion of the meeting, and I said, well, absolutely. So,
She was doing her best to get me to say something. Did she talk to you?
Did not.
She called you, Tom?
Channel 9 did.
Yes. I said, no comment.
So I told her that the meeting was a public meeting, anybody could attend, and there would be an executive session during that meeting.
Was she on now?
I don't know. Find out that I'm aware of.
Jordan Hedberg. She's on her way, so she'll be showing up with her TV crew right before you guys go in.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, that's it for me, sir.
All right.
Did you guys buy lunch after you got married to whoever?
Yeah, we.
I remember specifically.
That's tradition, yeah.
Yeah, I did it.
So are we recessed?
going?
Yeah, we're
Not yet,
Not yet.
until he puts us in.
So
So I would move we take a recess until 12:50 PM today.
would you like for us to go through public comment before we? do
Uh,
that?
Let's see. Dorothy.
It's on the
You
agenda.
can, I expect you're gonna do it again, but
All I'll ask for here is
Okay,
if
that's
somebody's been sitting through this meeting and
yeah,
wanted to
good
speak.
point, good point.
I'm going over to see Dorothy.
Is there any public comment at this time? And I will open it up for that.
Okay, yeah, that's a great point. We should have public comment because folks could have been on here waiting.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not seeing any hands up right now, so hearing none. Your motion?
I would move into recess until 12:50 PM today.
I would second that motion. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Right back here.
Sorry.
Given that there might be a reopening of public comment at that time. So the way I understand it is, we're going to be billed hours, or there will be hours for an attorney going towards a certain limit. The more we can control that, the better. Would it be in our best interest to open that meeting up sooner than 12:50 for that public comment? Or do you think that'll be enough time to get us started at 1?
Why would he bill us before the Zoom call?
He set aside, we told him 1 o'clock, and so I imagine you can ask
So,
Clint to see how.
My thought was
1
do
o'clock.
public comment
We could
after
do
we
the
come
public
out.
comment.
Right, come out
We
afterwards.
can do
Gotcha.
that.
I understood that as before, so. I understand.
It would probably be better after.
Sure.
Because
He isn't gonna be in.
Yeah,
if there's
my
any
misunderstanding.
any motions made resulting from the executive session, public should have an opportunity to have comment as we move forward. So, I mean, that's our standard deal, is ask for public comment before voting on any motion. So, yeah, if he wants to stay and listen, that's not on our dime, right?
Right, yeah, I thought we were doing it before.
There'd be no reason.
Yeah, get him on and then have 30 minutes of
Right.
public comment wouldn't be very efficient, so.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor then to recess this meeting until 12:50 PM today. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we are in recess.
Kill it. Stand by.
And so are we going to refire up the live stream at 1:50 or 12?